Hey, muscles matter. Steve and I believe muscles do matter because we're still trying to sport them, right, Steve?
Oh yeah, meathead to the good Lord calls me home.
Hey, hey, I want to thank you for that. The supplements, the aminos.
How they
I like them, Steve.
That pump is addictive, isn't it?
Took about a week. And now what I'm hoping is, because I do have another little blood spike, I got to show you on my test.
Okay.
And but everything else is back to normal. And so my doctor hasn't called me back. So if you're out there and you're doing anything, or you have a past in any type of anabolics or any type of PED, make sure you get a health checkup. I think that's probably the biggest thing, because I was talking to somebody the other day. They go, "You don't have any illnesses or any problems from steroid abuse?" I go, "Absolutely, I do. Got I had stage 4 kidney disease down to stage 2. Got a heart issue, and yeah, you play, you pay."
Well, one of the things that I think people don't realize is you have to go get your blood pulled.
Yeah,
you have to.
Yeah, and so so I'm all good there. I have one. I want to show it to you. So you have friends that are in your life that know what they're talking about. And Steve has Sportslanders West here in Bakersfield, and give me the address.
7420 District Boulevard, right across the street from Nestle's Ice Cream.
Yeah. Do we want to do our little logo in, Josh? Let's do our logo in. And we're back. There again, I'm here with my friend Steve. And as I was just talking just before we brought in, there's things that, you're going to do if you're going to get edgy. And I think our show's a little bit of, we've always talked about getting edgy. We're not ashamed of it.
It's better for people to get honest information.
I'm 66, and Steve helps me stay relevant out there. I like to, carry some muscle as much as a 66-year-old man can. And I know that it's not, but I've actually been lifting a little heavier. And so my doctor's not going to be happy with me, because when I lift heavier, what happens?
Oh, the heart works harder.
Yeah, and I get
expand.
Bigger,
yes.
and I get bigger. And he wants me to go on a losing weight episode this year, and I'm not sure I'm cooperating. I'm trying to cooperate, but I'm not sure my body's cooperating, because it doesn't like to lose muscle. And I don't know if that's just me in my head. Call me whatever you want. But, if you get iron poisoning,
you're never big enough.
And you're never going to do. So I love being able to train the gym. Steve gave me some aminos, which, as you're getting older, if you're out there and you're listening, and I do have a voice that I like to lend to the older athletes, the iron poisoning guys that are out there still doing it after 55, 60. Is that old now, Steve?
I don't know. I'm just waiting. I got another year, and I'll be able to get a discount everywhere I go.
No,
so
I'm
waiting for that one.
I'm way into the discount. I'm
Disneyland gets a couple of dollars cheaper.
I'm past that. But if you're out there and you're older, you got to realize that you need to have nutrition a little different than you used to. One of the things I found out, and just talking to you, I'm doing the digestive enzymes now.
Yes.
Because my body's losing the ability to
metabolize food.
It is. And that was a hard one to realize. And I had a couple things going on in my body, and the morning routine just didn't happen as easily as it used to. And I started realizing that the body just needs a little help digesting some of that food. So I went to the digestive enzyme.
Yes.
You had to go on, and that took care of that. And then I realized that I'm not going, "Hey, you got Andrew Castaneda. Hey, glad to have you come in, Andrew. What's up, brother? Hey, hang in there, brother. Keep on keeping." And glad to have people come in. If you're out there watching us, ask us questions. I mean, Steve's here to answer those, not me. I'm not the expert anymore. And I think if you're out there and you're older, it's hard to stay relevant with some of the things, Steve. It really is. So Steve helped me, because I cannot eat in proteins, which I love it, in the form of meat. And I'll just say it now. The issue that I've got going on now, and I should have looked it up for the show, but it has to do with possibly low in the B vitamins. So my blood is getting thicker. It's just the red blood cells are larger, and so it's causing some issues. But it could be from a lack of B12, all the Bs. And I've been trying to go to a more vegetarian protein, which is lack of the Bs.
Yes.
And so I think I'm onto something there. So
The amino has all the whole B complex in there.
yes, well,
But it's probably not. It's probably better to get it from food, and your body's been used to getting it from food.
well, I've backed off the vegan. Don't crucify me if you're out there, because I did try that and it worked for a while.
I'm going to see Jesus if they tell me I got to stop eating meat.
Well, now I think I've got a little issue that I'm working with in my blood test, and I'll show it to you tonight after the show, and then we'll come back on. I think it has to do with Bs. So I love the aminos you gave me, because they do have the B.
Mhm.
I've added some more real food back in my diet that is helping me. So if you're out there and you're older, you're going to have to adjust the what do you call it, the pendulum.
The stomach will not handle what it used to.
No, it won't. And so if you're out
And
there,
micronutrition becomes a necessity.
It
when
does.
It's like things we overlooked as kids
yes,
when we were young. I mean, you didn't eat cinnamon, you didn't eat honey, you didn't eat
yes.
your cayennes. The simple things that my aunt would always preach to me about doing, but I
And you
didn't.
just got by mistake.
Yes, and it's just like, oh, I have to take this now.
Yeah, and it's okay if you're out there. I mean, because it's I think that the sport that we practice in, which is, we call it bodybuilding, and I think everybody out there that lifts weights is a bodybuilder, because you're building your body up.
Yes,
You're doing something to build your body up. And so as we can talk in those terms, as you get older, you've got to start thinking a little more creative. Andrew says he's training for a marathon, and he keeps on strength training. We're going to get into that, Andrew.
I wish Blake was here.
Yeah,
That's a great Blake question right there. That's right up his alley, because that's what they do at his what is his grindhouse. Yeah, Andrew, you might want to go over to the grindhouse page and talk to Blake. That's right up his alley. Blake does that type of training for athletics. So Tom and I can sit here and give you all this great information, but that is Blake's wheelhouse.
Well, it is, and Blake is becoming a foster parent.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so he's got to finish up his last classes tonight.
Oh.
So good job, Blake. If you're out there thinking about that, we forgot to do our Covenant coffee. I've got our boss here, Mike Harvey, and he didn't get me a cup. But hey, over at Randy Martin's Covenant Coffee, you get hope in a cup, because everything you pay, everything you give to Covenant Coffee, which supports Covenant Ministries, goes to helping emancipated foster kids. So there again, thank you, Steve, for being the prop gorilla.
Hey, it's okay. I stand around look pretty with things.
You do like that. I love your shirt.
But you know what's funny? I'm gonna jack the show real quick. So I was thinking about the show one time, speaking of standing around looking pretty. And remember I told you that the camera guy took pictures of me, and they never ended up in the magazine?
Uh-huh.
That was also the time I was going against, what was that youngster's name? He got a big spread. Dorian Yates was training him. Oh my goodness, my brain went blank. Anywho, we'll skip past that. But he got a big page. And today I was telling somebody about that, and I went, they played dirty pool in that. I was that guy's only competition. By the time I got done posing all that time outside, I was wiped out.
I saw some of those pictures the other day with you and Priscilla outside. Those were good pictures.
Yes.
We should roll some of that stuff up.
And I was completely wiped out. I got on stage and I couldn't flex.
What the crazy thing is, and that's what the industry just wants the pics. They don't care how you play.
Yes.
It's so funny. I lost a cover. My friend Rich Gaspari doesn't let me forget it, because it's at the top of Flex magazine, and they were doing a whole spread on my hundreds routine, and I was supposed to have the cover. And Jeff Everson, Corey's husband, was the editor-in-chief of Muscle Fitness and Flex, and he jacked my cover. And there was reasons he should have jacked my cover. And I got, Joe Weider had called me in and asked me to stop some certain behavior that I was engaged in, and Rich I got the cover, and I was supposed to get it. So they do that. I mean, if there's a problem, I mean, it can happen at that level the day of print.
Like I felt so good. Like, oh, I'm in it. He's taking all these pictures.
It's worth it.
And then when I got on stage and I went, I'm gone.
I was doing another photograph for a cover, and John Balick did this one. I'm pretty sure it was John, and John probably won't do the show, but it was either Mike Navu or John Balick. And they had a great idea, and they put a blinds in front of the camera, and they were going to do a cover like looking through the blinds like a peeping Tom, you know. And I go, this is not going to work. And so they're like, we know more than you. And so it was a week before the '85 Nationals, and and I had a plane to catch the next week, and I got a call from Joe Weider's office, and he said, hey, you got to reshoot that. And I go, not this week. This is the week where I'm carb depleting. I'm getting ready to get on the airplane, go out a biggest show. I'm coming in as a favorite. I just won the Cal. And they said, no, we got to reshoot it. And I go, why? They go, that photo that you got, they sent in didn't work. I go, that wasn't my fault. That was the photographer's fault. I told him it wouldn't work. They said, well, regardless, you got to get back out there. And I ditched the photo shoot. By the time I got to Miami, I was a dirty word. The photographer already beat me there. And he goes, man, I wouldn't want to be you. I'm competing in a show. Well, it was a terrible showing, not just because of that. I got a call from Joe Weider the next day. He goes, Tom, what happened? I go, because you had me traveling all over the country. You had me doing a crazy photo shoot the week before. You wanted me to come in the day I was flying here to do it again. They don't give a crap.
No, well,
they don't care, Steve.
Well, you remember they what was his that big John Paul Fuchs?
What's the cuss?
Yes, I was trying to make sure I say it correctly. I caught myself. It's that La French does not come out right. And
it came out right. French came out right.
Remember they blew his knees out.
Uh-huh.
They put that 700 pounds on him because I forget the photographer at the time.
Because you didn't have fake weights in public.
Well, no, they'll make the when I say it, you're gonna go, oh yeah. He used to want his subjects, the people he's taking pictures of, using real heavy weight because the way it made the muscles move. And that young man he was carb depleted, like you said. He was ready for a show, or he just finished a show, and they wanted him to walk back with 700, which was in his wheelhouse with no knee wraps and a Joe Weider belt.
Oh yeah, that's necessary.
Yeah,
because that's really going to help.
Yes, and blew those knees clean out. You don't remember John Pierre?
I probably after my
he was a big round. He was round and pretty, very round and pretty. He didn't last long at all because they blew his knees out like his first year.
I remember
doing a photo shoot.
I remember a guy named Ralph DeHaan, and Ralph, first photo shoot I ever did with fake plates. He came in, it was loaded up, and he goes, "Hey, we're gonna lift some weights today." I go, "I'm not doing that." I was smart enough to realize I was looking at the thing, go, and so he went over and picked it up. Of course, photographer, he's not really built. John Balick was a bodybuilder, and he went into photography. He was a good bodybuilder, one of the best photographers in the world. Actually, was an owner of Ironman.
Yes,
when Arnold owned it, and so we were doing the photo shoot, and they had a model with me, and so they put on 245s to make it look like I was curling 225. But you got to add the bar, so that's a 45-pound bar, and those fake plates weighed about 7 pounds. So you're talking maybe 60 pounds, and I could curl that. But then Ralph goes, "Could she stand on the bar?" I go, "No." I looked at her, I go, "What do you weigh?" She goes, "I'm not telling you." I go, "Whatever you weigh, I'm not going to curl this."
Yeah, I'm going to sit there and hold this in position while she said,
and smile and probably tear her bicep.
Exactly. Just tear it clean off the bone.
Because it's like, well, the weights don't really count. Well, they do. The bar weighs 45. No one's fixed
Especially
that.
when the young lady's standing on it.
Yeah. And then the plates are 7.5 pounds a piece.
Yes.
They weigh something,
Yes.
Even if they're foam, they weigh something. And so I love that. But yeah, it works. I went down a rabbit hole. Wasn't sure what I was talking about. But it's funny when the industry is willing to sacrifice its athletes for that.
Yes.
I got a picture. Pull up the one of the bunch of guys on the stage. So I'm going to go down a rabbit hole, and we're not going to get too bodybuild nerding out, but I knew Steve and I would like this one. So this was the recent, was it the Pittsburgh show?
Yes, this is what everybody has to go pay homage to.
Lieberman and Mannion.
Yes,
Mannion.
because
It's actually, if you look there, it's Jim Mannion, IFBB Pro. Yes. So Jim Mannion is president of the NPC and the IFBB, and everybody's kissing that ring nowadays.
You have to do his pro. You have to do his show if you're thinking about wanting to be Olympian.
Think about it. They're all the Olympians are out there.
The Olympian. If you want to be Mr. Olympia, you have to go guest pro.
And so we got Nick. What's Nick's last name?
Walker.
Nick Walker. I saw this and I was like, it's a reverse. It's a white face.
Well, he never sprays it.
Well, why?
I do not know, but he never sprays his face. And I'm with you. It's a complete, like, I've watched shows, been to shows, and when they come out with
that's a mistake.
When they come out with the ghost face, it's kind of like it.
That's a good word for it.
It throws you off. Like you don't, like, as a judge.
Oh, it throw me well.
You're going to be staring at their face, and by the time they walk away, you're going to be like, "Oh, I missed their physique for completely."
No, do you think it's something toxic with the face, or
I really, maybe they don't like the orange because you know that stuff doesn't wash off for days.
Well, I competed in the days you had to tan.
Yes,
there was no thing. The first thing that came out to help with that was called Dioderm, and Dioderm went on green. But and I felt, what's the disease where the skin's splotchy?
Yes, yeah.
And so it was for that, but it went on green, and you rubbed it in, and it worked with the acid in your skin and turned it dark.
Okay,
but it didn't come off. I mean, it was body stained, and so you were stuck with whatever you know. And so, of course, bodybuilders, we would overuse it, and so you would look kind of odd. But
the modern tan, it takes a week or so for it to go away. It's still, you're still stained.
Well, I will tell you this, and I haven't confessed this anywhere. You can pull that picture off. Well, no, okay. I'm going to come back to it in a second because I want to talk about bubble gut.
Okay.
And because 2 years ago, when my daughter got married, my wife had me go spray tan. And I was like, okay, I've never confessed it on the air, but I did, because she says, well, you know, I've had so many cancers cut off me, I don't go in the sun.
Yes.
And my wife goes, hey, you're gonna look odd in the family pictures. And my son's last name is Jimenez, and so we have some darker hue.
Yes.
And so I did.
You were the light bulb.
I did. And Steve, I wish they had that around when I was there.
Well, you know that doesn't translate to the stage.
Does it?
No, it does not. My first show, I wouldn't spray tan. I wouldn't spray tan. So
the light washes it out.
Washes it clean out.
So you still need a base tan.
Well, not just that. You can't use regular spray tan. The tanning that they use is actually, like you said back in the day, it's actually a stain.
Body stain.
It's a makeup. So it absorbs the light. Like I remember the first show I did, I was washed out. And my mom was talking to the photographer, and the photographer was going, he goes, I can see every line on your son. And he goes, look in the camera. You see your son. You can see all the lines. He goes, now look away. He goes, he needs a tan. And I was like, I did tan. But that's when I found out, no, the spray tans don't transition to that white light.
I'm learning something now.
Yeah, it does not transition to that white light.
I used to always have to get a base tan, and I was like, well, I just put the Dioderm on.
Well, they use so many, the lights are, I mean, not to say the difference between the lights, but now they use all these, and you will wash right out.
I think every person that stood on stage before or under bright lights get washed out.
Yes.
Hey, so pull up the picture, because I also know something, because Nick gets a lot of flack from bubble gut. What causes the bubble gut, Steve? Now, I used to think it was GH, and it caused intestines to grow, because that was a theory.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that is still true.
A lot of it has to do with fermentation. So the food is fermenting in there. It's not getting properly digested. Kidneys are upset. So now you're retaining your water in your gut, in your belly. Insulin. So a lot of these guys you didn't take insulin heading into your show, because insulin makes you swell and it hold water.
Well, he's taken a lot of hits because he had bubble gut.
And
he's notorious for it, they say.
And they well, it's all of them are nowadays. The day of the flat stomach is gone, and it has a lot to do with the modern bodybuilder is a lot bigger than what they were. So there's a lot more food going in. you didn't eat as much food, so your waist came in small. The emphasis now is to come in full and round. Like you watched, I was watching one of the guys, to one of the front runners that was posing, and he went to pull his back and there was no lines, like zero, like none. And I was like,
well, I would have never shown up and stood on stage in some of the shape they were in. Some of them were good.
And that's what they have, all the stuff to keep them lean, but then you factor in the fermenting of the guts. They've got so many things going on. The insulin is causing the belly to, because it's retaining water. The kidneys are able to flush things, so you're retaining water and you're holding it right there in that intestinal bulge.
And just stand on stage, because the Olympia's not until what, September?
Yes. Well, he's going to look like that. We'll go then too.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, you got 6 months.
He's going to look like that too.
Yeah,
because that's the current look that they're rewarding. Yeah. I do not like modern bodybuilding. I'll always be a fan of bodybuilding, but I do not like the modern bodybuilders. If you pull up that picture, you'll be able to look at the shapes. The shape is gone. There is no more aesthetic whatsoever in modern bodybuilding. Most of the modern bodybuilders, and I'm going to go on a quick rant, are full of oil.
Yeah. So when is it Stathol still?
Synthol, yes.
Is it that still?
Yes, still that. When Nick came onto the stage, when you get a chance to go home, watch the video. Watch his lower cheeks. His lower cheeks when he walks out, I was like, that they don't move like that. They don't move like that. So it's become a lot more
and it's
cosmetic.
so visible. I mean, we used to have gynecomastia,
Yes,
which was bitch tit. Just sorry, but I mean, it's just what we called it, right?
Yes.
And so
well, they got that now. They don't even try to hide it anymore.
No, and so that was a telltale sign, and you avoided it. Like you said, they don't hide it anymore. But then even the unusual development that isn't even a natural angle.
The body,
you couldn't work that muscle.
And that's the problem when I look at, you look at Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman's the king of mass, of the big stuff. And you look at Ronnie's body, and then you look at, one of these guys' bodies now, and it's like comparing a Ferrari to a semi truck. There's nothing that goes, ooh, that's pretty. There's nothing to it. I mean, their legs don't even flare anymore. Have you noticed there's no flare in the legs? They're huge, but there's no flare. The hip to ratio, that pretty little sweep that used to come out from the side, where you're like, wow, that guy trained his legs. The drop over the knee, that doesn't exist anymore.
It's just a big mess.
Yes.
I got a picture I want to pull up, because this was even before my time, when they were talking about the title here is Old School Bodybuilding Forever. It's a group I'm in. And it talked about, would you believe a machine as a training partner? Joe Weider's Muscle Builder Power magazine. That shows you how old it was. It's Force of Muscle and Fitness. But they were talking about the pec deck and the lat pullover as now being machines, so you don't need a training partner to lift up weight on you. And I looked at it and thought, what an unusual thing that is back in the day. But nowadays, we've gone way beyond that, where some of these machines allow you to actually benefit from using it.
I want to go to Dubai, to these gyms, just so I could play on some of the machines I see.
Oh man.
I look up and I see some of these machines, and it's just like,
you could pull it down, Josh.
You see these machines and it's just like, that looks fine.
It's funny when you see that stuff. I mean, I was talking about something the other day, and they go, we have something like that in the gym. I go, not like that.
Yes.
I was like, I want to get on that and try it.
And like you said, the inner part of you that likes to train sees these machines, and you're going, that will hit that spot
without hurting my knees. I looked at one the other day and I go, oh, that's how that works. Took me a second to figure it out. And I was like, I would like to use that. But I wasn't just in gym clothes, and I was at a friend's gym.
When you see that pendulum squat, that looks
yes.
You could just, it's just amazing.
You and I wouldn't have bad knees.
Oh my Lord.
You might, because you lifted a lot. You did some real lifting. So there again, Andrew, I like your question, because there is a difference in training for a marathon.
Yes.
So you've got to have strength. as a marathon, you got to do one of the hardest exercises I think there is to do.
Lots of endurance. It's
Yeah.
it's hard.
Swimming, I think, is one of the most difficult exercises. You and I aren't dynamically built to glide through the water, so I don't think we're going into. I think there's too much volume.
You ever see like a Labrador swim in the pool? Yeah.
They have fun.
Yes.
And so I love the idea about strength training, because I do think as you're training, Andrew, that you're going to have to lift heavier weights. So could we say, as you're progressing up in weights, and I always tell people, go up in the smallest weight increment, whether you can put it on a bar or you move the pin down or you put the little 2.5 pound, 5 pound, increments on. If you're going up there, you're strength training.
Yes.
It means you're adding more weight, which is going to require more it's more resistance.
Yes.
So it's going to give you strength training. So would
Yes.
that be considered strength training?
Yes. And something like that. It's, you want your hamstrings to be nice and strong because you don't want them to go out on you. You got to have the glutes, the calves. I mean, that's why I was saying Blake would probably geek out on that.
Well, Steve, because you and I put a lot of time in the gym. When they talk about how long you work out, I go, how long is a day? Is that what you say too? It's like there was no clock.
I like to train.
Yeah, and so if
that was the best part of the day.
With the marathon, when you have to do 3 disciplines, I don't know how you figure your day. We had Adrian Monhay on, who is a big bike rider in town, and now he's doing a marathon, and he threw just some tips out for the bike riding. So Andrew, I'd say, and I think you do know Adrian Monhay, I think some of his biking techniques, because strength training is going to help with swimming, it's going to help with running, and it's going to help with bike riding.
Well, my chiropractor Vice is a competitive power lifter, and he goes on marathons. He just did a 2-day marathon.
It's heavily muscle.
Yes. Wow. And that's why I look at him like, wow, okay.
And you can move fast.
Yes.
Through elements like air and water.
He'll say, do things like, I want to deadlift 500 and go run for 15 miles afterwards. Like,
see, those things don't even they don't exist in my brain at the same time.
I deadlift 500 and go to the Chinese buffet.
Not run 15 miles.
Yes, no, drive 15 miles to the Chinese buffet. I put up a video the other day, and this.
I love your videos, Steve. The ones you've been putting up lately, especially the ones with the cartoon stuff. If you want to see funny videos, watch this guy. The Tim Burton one kind of scared me.
Yeah. I lost all my gains. I lost all my gains. I was like, I don't know if I want to put that up.
that was a death face.
Yeah.
2 days before.
Yeah, but I lost all my gains. I put up the video of Peter and the Paul brothers.
Oh, Peter and David.
Yes, and I put their video up the other day, and I remember as a child, the first time I saw them at Gold's.
That makes me feel old.
You
said you were a child and saw David and Peter. I worked out with the guys.
I just remember thinking how huge they were, and then I was watching.
Well, their upper bodies.
And I was watching the video, and they gave their body weight, and I went, oh,
what was it? 245,
250 and 235.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like,
yeah.
Oh, but I was 17. I was 17 when I saw him. So
very strong upper bodies. Yeah, very strong upper body, and loaded to the gills with gear.
The original Trin twins.
Yes, they had good guys too. They had the same drug guys I did. But I liked them. I didn't appreciate them back then because they were trend setting.
Could you imagine if they would have had social media for those two?
Oh, they were sensation, and they were funny, and I liked them both.
Yeah.
And if they would have had social media back there, they'd have been. What's the kid's name now? That's big.
Sam.
Sam.
Yes.
They would have been. They'd have been his because they never competed.
They never stepped on stage.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge, and they were my era.
And they did what, about 5-6 movies?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Well, they were very connected because they were original. They came in jeans, and they came in work boots, and they had fun. That's what I like.
They embodied the 80s look.
Yeah, they did. They were the first with the flannels and the headbands, long hair.
WWF.
Yeah. Well, they did, and they worked out with Hulk and a lot of the football players in the gym. Yeah, they did. Yeah, well, I mean, hey, when the girls started coming in the gym, their outfits were a little more ridiculous, high heels, and that's Venice goals. That's a whole other subject. Steve, let's have the last words because I had fun with you, and we're over our time.
I thank you guys very much for tuning in with us. Make sure you give us a like, a share, and a follow. If you have any comments, please leave a comment below.
Yeah, like Adrian.
The more you comment, the better it does and helps the 511. 511 represents a lot of different things. It's very hard to be a Christian-based social media business. So the more that you can share, doesn't have to be this video, can be any one of their plethora of videos. The more you can comment, the more it will help, and the more it will be able to push them out. Because already, 511 is already between a rock and a hard place, just because of its
a Bible verse
beliefs.
Yeah, 1 Thessalonians 5:11. We know the good work you're doing and continue to do. And so, if you're out there, I got whacked from TikTok. I told you that, right? I was building. I had and I talked about the gender question because. I got to watch what I say because
I pay them money and they non-monetize me. I was like, maybe if I give them some money, they'll leave me alone.
Everybody tells me how to get around this stuff, but I don't really know how to get around it anymore.
Hey, let me know.
I don't. Hey, thank you for watching and liking and tuning in. We got a lot of shows out there. So if you like this content, we've got a lot of shows out there that we think you might like.